I really hope people can't see my pajama trousers in the shot. It's very cold in this attic. Welcome back to Lizard of Doom. I am your boy, Max, and I've got another lizard lesson for you today. This is the series where I go onto my Discord, which is linked down below if you would like to join, and I go into the place where people are asking for critique on their miniatures, and I choose one of them that I think I can help and provide a little lovely video for you. So today we've got Jacob. Jacob has painted this lovely Forge Fiend here, and he is asking for help with the black. Does this still read as black, or does it go too far into blue? Weirdly, it's a darker blue than my normal edge highlights for my Chaos Space Marines, but looks more bluey. So, first off, it's very chunky. Now, I don't know if it's a too large brush or a brush control issue. I haven't got any information on the tools, but if it's a too large brush, try a smaller brush. If it's brush control, there's no kind of shortcut. It's just a lot of time put into purposefully getting better and fixing mistakes as you go. I have got a rule that I paint by, which is if you see it, fix it. If you are doing a different part of the model and you see a mistake on an old bit that you thought was done, at that point then, stop what you're doing and go back and fix that older bit and then move on from there. This is how I paint. It really focuses you in because you don't want to be doing that. Well, I at least don't want to be doing that with my ADHD. I've moved on. I'm on the next bit. I don't want to be going back 5 steps. So it really makes me think when I'm doing it, I don't want to come back to this. So get it as good as I can the first time. So if it's brush control, it's just a time sink into it to develop those kind of motor skills and muscle memory to get it a little bit thinner. Well, that is issue number 1. Sorry to list this. I don't want this to come across as I'm just picking people and dumping on them. This is people who have asked for critique and improvement advice. So let me have a quick look at the Chaos Space Marine that you've referred to, because there's also a picture of that. This is a very well documented entry. So the Chaos Space Marine, the lines are a lot thinner, which is good. So this is something interesting. When doing the Forge Fiend as well, you want to keep them the same thickness if they are the same type of armor, because if you make it is a bigger model, so the temptation is just to go a bit buck wild and do bigger highlights, but it will look wrong because the scale of the highlights is off. They won't look like they're in the same scale as each other when you put them next to each other. So you've shown here you have got really decent brush control. All you could do is a little bit of, like I said, when you see a mistake, go back and fix it. Some are a bit wiggly, so you could just neaten that up with black, but otherwise this is pretty damn good. Also, I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, Jacob, that you've done 1 thick coat for those highlights. Thin paints, that is important. You don't want to be building up texture. If I look very closely, I can see a little bit of texture in some areas there. So multiple thin layers with a tidy up. You'll see in my fixing of this, I'll go back and tidy up multiple times. Multiple thin layers and tidy up. Definitely recommended. Interestingly, on the gun, you can see that the edge highlight on the red, nice and crisp. So you'll get a bit of help because the model's got a nice edge from you to work with there. And that's where the brush control comes into it when you haven't got that edge to work with. But you've kind of got it, like especially on the model's left shoulder pad, really nice lines there, and also you've got it. It's just a little bit of tidying up. But like I said, the scale of these highlights need to match the scale of the Forge Fiend highlights, whereas they're a bit more chunkier because you've been tempted by the larger model to just do it bigger. So also, you mentioned in the original post the colour. It's a darker blue than the other ones. I think both may be too light, so it may be like a colour selection issue as well. I think that there needs to be a step in between and possibly 2 colours for this edge highlight, because if you look closely, let me find something I can reference. So this is a standard that I cannot paint to. I would put myself at, high mid. So if you're a beginner or mid-level painter, I may have some useful things for you. This, you can see, the edge highlights on this Black Templar's Castellan are not one colour. They're not one colour. They are multiple colours. There is a very light blue in there, like the one you have used, but there is a darker tone in there first. So this is something worth exploring. I'm going to work it out for you. Don't worry, I'll work it out. So, brush control, just a little bit of work. Fixing your mistakes, very important one. And colour selection. And also, this is black armour, yes, but what is it made of? So this is made of metal. We need to see some of that seeping through, like you've done scratches of the highlight colour. Maybe that would be better done. Well, I'll talk about this further in the video, because I'll do the black reading as black first, and then I'll talk about selling it as metal just at the end, just a little add-on for you. Right, I think we have got the premise of this video. So first of all, this stat sucks. Sort it out, please. Like and subscribe. Everyone's asleep in the house, so I'm going to get in big trouble for that. And before we get started, I'm going to choose the model that I'm going to be helping with from this week's sponsor. This week's sponsor is The Crate from Only Games. These are a subscription service, £10 a month, plus postage and packaging, and you get 3 miniatures. The sci-fi creator of the month, who sculpted all of these sci-fi miniatures, is Pop Goes the Monkey, and the fantasy creator is Epic Miniatures. 3 of their miniatures 3D printed and sent out to you for £10, but you can have them for free if you're a new customer to this service using code LIZARDCRATE. That's all capitals, one word, LIZARDCRATE. You can get your first crate for completely free. I always say these miniatures are great for people who play D&D. You get loads of NPCs and monsters on a monthly subscription, and they are always excellent quality. You can really see on these miniatures that they have been sculpted with a bit of passion, with a bit of love from a fan of the setting that they come from. These ones in this sci-fi box are obviously a very chaosy World Eateries themed, and they would be a lovely dip into this army for someone who wants a little taste but doesn't want to commit to the army and buy a massive expensive box set. £10 or free using code LIZARDCRATE. And now onto the fantasy ones. You can see how these would be great for any DM. I am a DM myself, and you can funnel your players towards whatever monster and whatever NPC you like. And in this box, you'll get a selection of 3. Look at this lovely little mind flayer there. Lovely little ponytail on this one. It's got its tentacles tied up. Looking fine, Mrs. Mind Flayer. And then also we have their pet in this next one coming out now. Who's a good little intellect devourer, hey? Who's a good little intellect devourer? Look how cute they are. Now, these are brilliant if you're just wanting to paint something fantasy, or again, want to get into D&D and help spruce up your miniature collection with 3 random a month. Look at this big old plant. Feed me, Seymour. This is a lovely monster to funnel players towards. Imagine trapping them in a dungeon with this thing lashing out at them. But now, there is a little bit more to this promotion this week, because subscribers to this will also get an email with a code in for 33% off a custom miniature from our friends at Eldritch Foundry. This is to celebrate the launch of their new full colour custom miniature Kickstarter, which is currently live ending November the 28th, featuring lots of new and unique painting tools that other custom miniature makers don't have. So check out the link down below and get involved with these crates. I get them monthly and I do love them. Now I'm going to select one of these miniatures to do this painting tutorial on. And talking of D&D and using this for that, I am going to run a Mad Max themed D&D campaign. It's going to be a mishmash of magic and wasteland mayhem. And there is one option from this that suits this perfectly. This chap. This chap is like a little raider, little chaos, little cultist with these chain axes. He is now going to be a lord of the arcane wastelands, an irradiated mess of magic and radiation and nuclear poisoning. So I have taken my time to paint him up, and he is now bright pink. The irritant of this arcane radiation has caused his skin to inflame, but he is now imbued with the arcane power of the wasteland. But that is not the bit we'll be focusing on. You can see his axe paneling here has been painted black, so has the armor on his other axe and his boots, and also on his backpack, his breathing apparatus, the tanks are also painted black. This is not just from a black primer, which I did use a black primer on this, but I always recommend going over it with Vallejo black. This is my favorite. It is a very matte black, and you get the best results from this I have found. Now, For highlight choice color, dark sea blue is a very, very blacky blue. So this is an excellent start to move up from to anthracite grey, which seems to be a very similar color to the highlights used on the example piece that we are teaching how to improve from. So to start with, I'm going to take a very fine brush. This is a 0/3 Kolinsky Sable brush. This has a lovely little point in it and is perfect for getting in these tight spaces. I'm just going to run a quick line around all of the inner edges of the armor panels as neatly as I can. I say as I can, you will see during this process there's going to be lots of steps where I repair this and make it neater again by going back in with the black. But this is just going to test whether this is the right color to highlight, and it's also going to give me an idea what this will look like at the end. I'm going very thin with these highlights. Like I said earlier, thinner highlights, the better when it comes to edge highlighting and this kind of heavy metal painting style. When it comes to the boots, we're going to see more edge highlighting like I did in the last lizard lesson. I did one specifically on edge highlighting, so this is a little quick recap of that. Use the edge of your brush as much as possible rather than the tip, even if you're using very close to the tip because it's quite a shallow area you're trying to edge highlight. Make sure you're trying to use the edge right on the sharpest point of that bit you're trying to highlight. Nice crispy lines. But they got that correct earlier on the gun that they highlighted on the Terminator. That looked really good and crisp. So edge highlighting is not the problem here. It is more highlighting when you haven't got that edge to guide you, because that edge can be very useful and do most of the work for you if you edge highlight correctly. That colour was a little bit dark, but I'm experimenting here and working through this problem and trying to help them resolve it. When I do one of these, I don't have the recipe in my head already. I'm trying to find the specific thing to help that person out. Those edge highlights are there, and those little highlights on the panels too, but they're very, very subtle. I need to reinforce them a little bit and make them a little bit lighter. That's going to come by mixing the two colours together, creating kind of a 50-50 mix of that dark sea blue and the anthracite grey. This will provide a little bit more lightness, but not quite as light as the full anthracite grey. We'll see that come into play later, but this is going to be more of a readable highlight across here in the heavy metal style. I know it's wet, so it'll be a little bit more shiny, but you can see that this is more readable as a highlight on this piece. You can't even see the other ones kind of in relation to this. When you have a good look there, you can see that highlight. That is a good tone. So that's about 50-50 between the dark sea and the anthracite grey. Good working out, Max. We cracked it. Then I will go in, like I said, to repair any area I have made a little bit of a boo-boo or gone too thick with the edge highlight. I will then carefully run the black over that again, thinned. Make sure you are thinning your paints because you do not want any textures, especially in a repair like this. You can see the bit I'm doing on the axe here. If I created a texture, you would see a raised line there. Why would, like, I don't want a raised line there. That's not the place where you want to build up texture at all. So thinning paints is very important, and most of the time you can get away with one coat when you're just repairing like this. Simple. After this, we'll be coming in with the pure anthracite grey. Now this is not for an all-over highlight like the previous one. We are just picking the upper edges of areas like this on the boot to edge highlight where the light would catch. And then when it comes to the axe face, I think the light is coming down, so we will highlight the bottom bit because the light will not hit the top highlight bit. I'm not sure what to call this because it's not quite an edge highlight because it's not on an edge. It's the heavy metal highlight. So on the heavy metal highlight, the light won't catch the top one because there is the trim. The trim is overhanging, so the light wouldn't hit there, but it would hit the bottom of this axe. Oh, bollocks. Let's wipe that off and carry on. Yeah, so you do make mistakes. And again, look, that little corner there, too chunky. Come back in with the black. Just fix that up a smidge. Don't be afraid to work back and forth. Everyone makes mistakes. Go easy on yourself. I like leaving them in. People say they like it when I've got mistakes in my videos because it's more real and relatable. So relate to me being a clumsy idiot, I guess. And once we have got that highlight done, you can see that it is popping a little bit around the edge, but the whole area is still reading as black. Now we've got to start the next phase, and that is selling it as painted metal. There's a couple ways you can do this. I'm going to use rust and use Mournfang Brown thinned down to a glaze consistency. Then I'm going to be putting that in areas where liquid would pool, or I think there should be a bit of wear and tear, where a bit of paint might have come off. You can do this multiple ways, chipping with a sponge. The way they did it in the example piece we're working from is with like a big scratch of the highlight colour. I would not do that, and what I would do is maybe a scratch of the colour of the material underneath. So if it's like iron, we would show that there's iron underneath, and then edge highlight the bottom of that scratch with the highlight colour, because the paint is chipped around it. Also, something I'm doing here that you can see now is I'm doing the same rust effect on other iron or steel areas on the miniature. This gives it a consistent look across all that type of metal to make it look like the rust affects everything and not just the black armor. It wouldn't make sense if it was the same type of metal and then the rust didn't affect the black armor, or the other way around. You get what I mean? You get what I mean. So this is one coat of that. You can see very subtle. That's because it is a glaze consistency, very thin. So I'm going to build up a few more coats here now, and then I'm going to show you the final bit. I like how it looks around the back of the tank there, though. You can see that starting to build up in the recesses where liquid would pool and stick to it. But there's one surefire way to show you all of your mistakes and bits and bobs and really show up every brush stroke on your miniature, and that's look at it in direct sunlight and film it on your phone or a camera or whatever, and you can really see every single mistake you've done. And here I'm bearing all in front of you. Not in that way, I'm not getting demonetized. I'm not starting the OnlyFans, no matter how much the people in the Discord want to see me in fishnets and a miniskirt. It's not happening, all right? It's not happening. And I was going to say no amount of money could persuade me otherwise, but everyone has their price. Talking of my price, thank you to my Patreons. You can see them on screen now. Link in the top corner. I appreciate your support. Thank you very much. So thank you to my Patreons. I need your help more now than ever. I need your help more now than ever because I am starting to make my own miniatures game. There'll be a video on this coming soon. Maybe tomorrow. As soon as I can make it, there'll be a video on this coming soon. I mentioned it at the end of the last video, but I'm going to give it its own video. I'm in beta testing now. And it's going to be like a come get involved video. The Patreons will be getting, from now on, I've been going at a shotgun approach, just uploading stuff as it happens. I'm going to be doing weekly updates on the Patreon. Check out the merch. This is some cute little merch of mythical creatures designed by my lovely partner Lydia. That is on lizardofdoom.com. And check out the crate from Only Games, link down below. That is also an affiliate link. So not only did they pay me for the sponsor, I also get a cut of whatever you guys choose to spend with them. So that is a great little partnership I've got with them, and they are a big help to the channel. Thank you for watching. Leave a little like for the like throne and a comment for the algorithm gods. Remember, it is not a pile of shame. It is a pile of future fun. See you next time, kids. Peace.